Today we've got some very exciting topic, which is the top 10 crucial steps to ace your job interview. The first one, the research your company. Well, one of the most important mistakes that a lot of students do, a lot of job seekers actually do is they don't really focus on the company. They only focus on themselves, believing that an interview is all about only themselves, which it is not. So the first thing that you got to really focus on is the company. Research the company. Try to understand about what exactly is the company, its businesses are in, its products and services, and most importantly, its culture and values. So once you understand that, it becomes easier for you to align with those things when you're presenting yourself in a job interview. So that's the most important one. So where do you get this information from? Well, the best source for you to get the information about a company is to visit the company's website and then browse through their different pages, understand what exactly is the culture and the communication that the company is putting out to the real world. So that's the first thing. Now, once you know that, then you could get to the next one, which is prepare a set of common questions. This is step two. Once you know what the company is all about, what are its businesses in, and what are its values and culture, you are ready to now create a set of common questions. You got to write down maybe 10, maybe 20 questions that you think are appropriate and contextual from your interview and industry's point of view. So questions like, tell me about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Why should we select you? Where do you see yourself 10 years from now, or 5 years, or even 2 years from now? Are questions that are extremely relevant and are most often asked in interviews. And so it's only incumbent and imperative on your part to really prepare yourselves for those questions, so that if that question is indeed asked in an interview, you don't really have to think about the answer. All you got to do is then just focus on the communication part of it and then present your answer. Now, step three is to showcase your skills and experiences. Well, this is very important because a lot of students or interview candidates end up only projecting their academic successes and academic qualifications and accomplishments. They fail to understand that a job is a different ball game from an educational institution, where your basic skill is only your academic achievement. But when you're really looking for a job, you need to talk about your skills and your experience. And if you're a fresher, you probably have zero experience. That's okay, that's fine. But skills are something you can always present, because even as a student, you must have gathered a lot of skills. Maybe while organizing parties or functions or farewells in your college. Maybe you led a team, or maybe you are a part of a team that was working towards a certain goal, and you probably picked up a lot of interpersonal skills, probably a lot of networking skills, communicating skills, and then task discussion skills, and so on. So these are things which you should never forget to really highlight in an interview. The fourth step is to ask yourself some thoughtful questions that are specific to you and not the common questions that are generally asked of every student. So look at your CV, look at all the important data points in your CV, and then ask yourself, well, what would I really want to say if there's a question on this? For example, why is there a break between your graduation and your post-graduation? You've lost 2 years there, or you lost 6 months or 1 year there. How do you explain that? Now be ready. And then the second such question could be, why are your marks gradually falling over a period of time? For example, you probably scored 95% in your 10th standard, but then it probably fell to 80% in your intermediate and further down in your graduation. So that's another question which an interviewer might be tempted to put. So if such a question is put to you, just get ready. What is it you're going to say? Secondly, if there's a question like, why are you not the topper in your class? Or why haven't you, why haven't you opted for maybe computer science, or maybe, management, or something that you haven't opted for? Be ready with an answer, because that's something which can take you by surprise and And that's why, I mean, it's important you know something to talk about that and you're prepared well. The fifth one is to be punctual. Well, this is criminal. I mean, if you're not attending an interview on time, if not in time, that's criminal because the modern corporate world demands that you are punctual, that you know your time, that you know the importance of time, and you are keeping to your time when it comes to as important a topic as an interview, as important an event as your interview. And if you fail to show up on time, no matter what great reason you might have, but the interviewer is liable to believe that this guy could not keep or manage his time for an important event like an interview. Now, how could I expect him to be showing up on time when he is given much bigger assignments and tasks? The sixth step is to understand the importance of dress. Well, you must dress to impress. A lot of people, especially in this part of the world, in India and other places, do not really think that dress is important. They think their subject knowledge, their understanding, their ideas, and their personality is important. Well, indeed, all those are important. There's no denying the fact that these are not important. They are important. But your dress is just as important because if you don't dress up professionally, then you are only sending out a message that I don't really care about this interview. This is not important and I'm not serious about this. Imagine every time you spend a lot of time dressing up and showing yourself up in the best possible light. That is because you thought the other person you're meeting with is very important and you're seeing the interview as extremely serious, right? And deserves your full attention. So that's what you convey when you dress up properly. It's not just to show up yourself in fashionable dresses like a Hollywood or a Bollywood star, but to show up yourself as a professional. Step seven is master good body language. A lot of people don't think that body language is important. I mean, they don't sit up straight, they don't make eye contact. Now, that's extremely important because anytime you drop your eyes, look here and there, it only means that you you are uh, you are afraid or you're not confident about what you're saying. And so it's important you understand the importance of eye contact, importance of giving us a firm and confident handshake, sitting up straight and firm, and a positive body language that's natural and lively, which only conveys that you are a confident person. Now, step eight, which is extremely important, is to listen actively. Active listening. A lot of people think interviews are all about talking and telling your views. They don't really understand uh, that you are communicating just as much when you are talking as when you're listening. So when the interviewer is asking you questions, pay a lot of attention and listen to that question very carefully. When you're listening, I mean, you need to understand what exactly is active listening because there are some 10 to 12 different elements of active listening. I'm going to show them up in a different video on active listening, which you can catch up with later. The next one is address your weaknesses politely. Some people, try to uh, walk their way out of or bluff their way through the weaknesses question. You don't really have to because there's no person in this world who's got no weaknesses. Even the best of best people are a combination of strengths and weaknesses. So there's absolutely no one in this world who's got only strengths and no weaknesses. So that's something that you shouldn't really worry about. So if there's a question about your weaknesses, number one, be polite, but be smart. Be smart. Please understand that weaknesses are not something that should necessarily put you in the defense. Well, you can always project your strengths, and when there's a question about your weakness, then you could very diplomatically admit that there is one weakness, and then most importantly, in the second part, tell them what is it you've been doing to overcome that weakness over the past few weeks or months, and how you were able to overcome that particular weakness, or at least you know work to make sure that that's not affecting you in any adverse way. Now, the next one is the last one, which is a very important one, is after the interview is over, do not forget to write a thank you note to the interviewer. Well, you could get the interviewer's email ID from your college placement officers or from other sources. You could directly get it from him by asking for his email. I mean, if that's okay with him. Or you could find it out from other sources in your network, and then do write a simple 2 or 3 line thank you letter, thank you email to the interviewer that only shows you in good light and also helps him to remember you after he's left the interview room. So I think these are 10 important absolute nuggets that you must not forget during an interview. I hope you enjoyed this session. Please subscribe to my channel, like this session if you really liked it, and hit the notifications bell so that when I put more videos of this sort, you can always have a notification sent out to you. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best for your next job interview. Thank you.